You love ultralight backpacking gear. I love ultralight backpacking gear. So it's a match made in heaven. Let's talk about it. This is my 2024 ultralight gear that has passed the test. It has made the cut and is going into my kit for 2025. So first and foremost, what I'm tossing around and inevitably going to break something with is this little guy right here. So this is a product from Litesmith. And if you haven't heard of Litesmith, they make a lot of little pieces of ultralight gear, and this is one of them. This is a 2.6 ounce battery bank. So a lot of people have to charge devices in the backcountry, obviously, like cell phones, headlamps, and things like that. And if you're just going on an overnight or maybe 2-night trip, this is the perfect solution for you at 2.6 ounces. It's good to charge your phone at least one time fully. It is fast charging, and it does have a single one USB-C input and output. So just one input/output on this. This is literally just a battery, like legit, it's just a battery. And that's why it comes with these end caps here, because you can actually discharge this battery if it comes into contact with anything. So that's the whole point of the end caps, which I'm glad I figured that out, because I almost threw those away because, you know, I'm an ultralightist at heart. So this replaces my Anchor Power Core, which is almost 7 ounces. So it's a huge difference in weight. This will get the job done for 99% of people out there. And for $23, I think that's a steal for saving 4 to 5 ounces. Some people will pay hundreds of dollars, believe it or not, to save a mere several ounces from their backpacking kit. And if you can spend $23, you can probably do that very easily yourself with this tiny little battery bank. So highly recommend. This thing's pretty cool. So next up on the agenda, it's actually what I'm wearing right now. This is the Outdoor Vitals Vario jacket. It's a 9-ounce synthetic jacket, and I absolutely adore this jacket. It's quickly becoming my favorite piece of ultralight kit going forward for 2025. It's soft, it's supple, it moves well, it breathes really well. Overall, it's just a very versatile jacket. So this is actually replacing my Mountain Hardwear puffy jacket. Even though it does weigh 2 ounces more, because it is so versatile, I think it's just totally worth it. I can hike in the rain with this. It'll still keep me warm if it gets wet. It dumps heat really well. So I'd say into the teens, you can get this jacket into as long as you're on the move, and you'll be completely warm in this, absolutely no problem. And it'll dump the proper heat that it needs to dump. If you're static and not moving, you know, it'll do a relatively decent job, maybe into the high mid 40s, maybe low 40s if you have like a decent mid layer on. And the price point, this jacket comes in at $200, which is, it's a decent amount of money for a jacket. And I did get it on sale, close to 20% off. Even still, it was hard to pull the trigger on that. But I'm really glad I did it. It's my favorite piece of gear going forward. Next up is, almost lost that one, a product again by Litesmith. So this is a jar, but it's not just any jar. Don't click away. Let me explain this. A lot of ultralight backpackers, they cold soak or they don't bring stoves. And that's what this was designed for, is for cold soaking, or just quite simply using as a bowl. Or if you just need a leak-proof container, it'll do that as well. So Talenti jars is what a lot of backpackers use, but this is way better than a Talenti jar. It actually takes boiling water and it won't melt. So a Talenti jar, you can't really do that with. It's also FDA approved, so this is all food grade plastic, so you're totally okay to put boiling water in here and eat out of this. It's totally fine. This comes in at 1.9 ounces, which is just super ultralight. It weighs the exact same as a Talenti jar. For $4, you can get yourself a Talenti jar on steroids, basically, which is exactly what this thing is. And this is the ultra small version. You can go all the way up to like extra large. I think that one's 26 ounces for $6. So 12 ounces all the way up to 26 ounces, $4 to $6. You can get yourself a jar on steroids. That's great for cold soaking, or in general, if you're a backpacker and just need a leak-proof container, this will get the job done. Again, Litesmith, check them out. They have a lot of cool little products like this. So next up, we're going to talk about an ultralight gear company that a lot of people don't really talk about. And hopefully that's not for good reason. But this is Mountain Laurel Designs, so small little US cottage company here. This is a sleeping bag liner that they sell for $70 for a 3-ounce sleeping bag liner, which is actually a pretty good deal. If you've ever researched sleeping bag liners, they're really expensive, at least a good majority of them are. So $70 is really kind of towards the lower middle tier for a sleeping bag liner, and this is a really nice one. So it's guaranteed to add at least 5 degrees of warmth to your sleep system at the very minimum, which is great. The reason why I love this though is actually just how soft and supple this is. This almost feels like your sheets at home. So after a long day of backpacking, when you're all nasty and gross and you're crawling into your quilt and skin's against your gross pad and it just doesn't feel right, that's where this bad boy comes in. So 3 ounces to give you that nice at-home feeling, to give you a little extra warmth, I think is totally worth it. It's totally within the wheelhouse of how much sleeping bag liners cost. And they say that you can use this as an actual sleeping bag if the temperature is 60 degrees or above. And it does have a DWR finish on there as well. So it's not waterproof, but it will shed water if it does get wet, which is pretty handy as well. The only negative thing I have to say about this is I'm not sure it breathes very well, and it might be because of that DWR coating. I did wake up one time and I was kind of sweaty. I'm not sure if I was overheating or it just wasn't breathing very well. So that might be an issue. But other than that, I've had very good luck with this. Pretty awesome product, Mountain Laurel Designs. So next up, I swear I'm not sponsored by these guys, but I do have something else from Mountain Laurel Designs that I want to show you. And it's in a little orange sack, just like the sleeping bag liner was. But let's open her up and we'll take a look. So this is their synthetic balaclava. Mountain Laurel Designs only does synthetic products, and that's what this is. Again, it's a balaclava. This is good when you're using a quilt. So a lot of ultralight backpackers use quilts instead of sleeping bags. The sleeping bags have hoods to keep your head warm, but quilts don't. So when it gets really cold, you have to do something about that. And that's the whole point of this balaclava here. And that's actually the point of these drawstrings down here too. It's to loop them around your arms underneath your armpits, so it stays in place. So when you're using it and tossing around, it'll stay in place. It won't move around on your face and twist around and all that jazz. So it does a really good job with that. But for $70, synthetic balaclava that'll keep you warm even if it does get wet. You know, it's a little bit on the pricey side, but getting good sleep is definitely worth it. And sometimes it's worth the investment. So check it out, Mountain Laurel Designs balaclava. So the next thing I want to show you, it was hard for me to buy this because what it was replacing, I really loved. So this is my new smartwatch. It's the Coros Pace 3, comes in at 1.3 ounces. This is actually replacing my Apple Watch Series 9, and I loved that Apple Watch. It was fantastic. It did everything I needed it to do. It tracked my hikes, my workouts, my calories, just everything, my sleep. But the battery life on the Apple Watch was just atrocious. It would die during my hikes. I would have to stop and charge it during my hikes. It was just not ideal. This freaking Apple Watch, dude. Battery life sucks on it. That's the only reason why I picked this up. And without a doubt, this is an affordable smartwatch. It's about $220, which if you don't know, smartwatches can go all the way up into the thousands easily. So this is an affordable watch, but it does everything that I need it to do. It tracks my workouts, it tracks my hikes, it tells me my elevation, it tells me my distance, it tells me my sleep, tells me my heart rate, tells me my calories, so on and so forth. It is definitely not as nice as the Apple Watch by any means, but I don't need to worry about charging this. Even when I'm tracking all of my workouts, all of my hikes using the GPS, this battery will last weeks at a time. So super convenient. Now I can actually track my hikes without worrying about it or stopping to charge my watch. The Coros Pace 3, $220, totally affordable. Get it on sale like I did too. It makes it an even better steal. But if you're into tracking your hikes or tracking workouts or just tracking your health in general, Coros Pace 3 gets the job done. It's not the nicest watch, but I do enjoy it. So I pinky promise you, I have one more thing to show you from Mountain Laurel Designs, and that's the last thing from that company. So I know I've been hammering hard on Mountain Laurel Designs, but I have one more thing to show you. It's pretty cool. It's kind of on the bigger side, but check this out. This is their Spirit 28 synthetic quilt. So completely synthetic, absolutely no seams on this quilt, which is good for heat retention. It's essentially just one huge sheet of synthetic insulation. And the insulation is called Apex, and this stuff is pretty darn cool. It's the same synthetic insulation that Enlighten Equipment uses as well. And they've done some testing on this stuff, and it's pretty remarkable. So they've actually washed this quilt over 20 times, tested it, and have found that it retained 95% of its original heat retention value. meaning that even after 20 washes, this quilt basically performed the same as it did out of the factory, or very, very close to it. That's something that you can't really achieve with down. There's no way you'd be able to wash your down quilt 20 times and have it come out basically the same at the end. That just wouldn't happen. Now, I'm not saying this is better than down. You know, this is their warmest bag. It's their longest and widest bag as well. So it's 26 ounces. It's a little on the heavy side. A down bag would be lighter than that. A down bag would compress more than this bag would. But when you consider that it's synthetic, extra long, extra wide, and the warmest bag that they do have, the fact that it's only 26 ounces really isn't that bad. And it packs down small enough to actually fit in my 30-liter fast packs, just barely, but I can get it in there. So it packs down small enough, a lot smaller than I ever imagined a synthetic quilt would actually pack down. So I'm impressed with that. Again, nowhere close to as good as down, but still very packable for what it is. And the whole reason why I picked this up is because I've been using bivvies lately, and it's just good to have something synthetic in a bivvy, because bivvies have a lot of condensation sometimes, and this will keep me warm even when it's wet. This quilt retails at about $245, and I think that's a super fair shake. I mean, again, it's their warmest quilt. It's the most expensive quilt you can probably get from them, I believe. So $245 for high quality, made in the US, cottage company quilts. I'll take that all day. The only thing I don't really like about this quilt is at the bottom here, they use that plug system, because you can open this quilt out into a blanket basically. So when you cinch it up, there's this little hole at the bottom, and they want to use this plug to like plug it up, and I just don't get it. It just doesn't do a great job. I just feel like there must be a better way, but that's what we're doing. That's what they decided to go with, and I'm not the biggest fan of that. But other than that, everything else with this quilt I've been pretty impressed with. Okay, so this next item has been a game changer for me on trail, and hopefully it can be the same for you. If you're into documenting your hikes, whether it's through photo, video, if you just like to document your adventures, this next product is for you. So this is a trekking pole by Cascade Designs. It's a carbon fiber trekking pole, comes in at about 8.5 ounces. It's a decent trekking pole. It's nothing to, write home about. But the game changer with this trekking pole is the fact that it can take a camera on the handle. So it would have to be a smaller camera, cell phone, action camera, maybe something a little bigger than that. But this is a game changer, because I don't know if you've ever tried to document your hikes, especially via video. It takes a lot to even just set up a tripod and get a shot. You have to take off your backpack, you have to take out your tripod, set it up, get your camera on there, get the shot, take off your camera, collapse the tripod, put it back into your pack, put your pack on. It can take forever sometimes just to get the simplest shots. So instead of setting up a tripod, all you have to do is just jam this right into the ground and you got your shot. It's really as simple as that. I don't have to take off my pack. I don't have to set up a tripod. I can just jam this into the ground, get whatever shot I need, pull it back up, and I'm ready to go. It saves so much time. And not only that, I can use it as a selfie stick as well. So this thing gets really, really good range for $35. Totally worth it. Makes my life so much easier on trail. Just a side note, I added this little ball extension here, but I just attach it to the tripod like you would your camera. So just a heads up there, this is an added accessory right here. But for 35 bucks to get yourself a very simple, easy to carry tripod, monopod tripod, trekking pole basically. And that will do it for me. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.